Alright, welcome back to Wake Angel 2001 Reviews. Boom Toys he overpaid for because he is a helpless addict. This is Metal Sonic, and I spent about $15 for him. So the sting is not quite as bad, but it's still about twice as much as he should retail for. So, yeah, that still kind of hurts. Metal Sonic is in the same kind of bubble packaging that everything else comes in this line. On the back of it, you see what other single-carded figures are going to be. Eggman and Shadow are, of course, a given. But take a look at that Sonic figure. It looks like they're going to make a Sonic figure that's sculpted in the running pose. I don't know exactly how that's going to work. Like, will he actually be able to stand in any way? Will he come with a stand that you can peg his foot into? I mean, like, it's cool that if you're not going to sculpt a Sonic figure with knee joints, it's kind of cool that you sculpt one in a pre-made running pose, but is he actually going to be able to be usable as the display figure? Alright, I'll go a little bit lighter on this packaging because it's not forcing the figure to stand in an unnatural way that damages his legs or something like that. So, his is a much more natural stance inside of that box, which, you know, is cool. So, I will not take off points for bad packaging on this figure. But, let's get him out of there and see Metal Sonic, because everybody loves Metal Sonic. Metal Sonic is pretty much hype. And now here is Metal Sonic out of the packaging. And the one thing I really want to say first and foremost is, what is with this paint job? Oh my god. Okay. Do you guys remember, like, the second or third wave of the original Boom figures? They started to release these stupid Platinum Edition Sonic and Knuckles figures that were painted with these metallic paints, which made the figures all shiny and stuff. And made absolutely no sense because Sonic and Knuckles aren't shiny and metal. They're covered in fur. I thought, hey, the one good thing that can come out of that is that they can use those shiny paints on Metal Sonic and make them look awesome. Nope! They use the same dull matte paints on Metal Sonic that they use on the regular figures, and on Metal Sonic that looks sucky. He looks so dull and lifeless. They especially use that stupid dull gray base plastic color for all of his metal parts that should be silver, and like. It's exactly like what happened when Jazzwares made the classic Metal Sonic figure. Like, it's just so visually dull. Like, and they don't have the white stripes on his feet. Well, actually, they do have the white stripes on his feet, but it's implied that it's just his soles. Like, the white stripe is supposed to, like, be a little bit above the sole level. Oh, and let's not forget, completely unpainted back city. Like, come on, that's the jet. You gotta paint that. Is it just because we wouldn't be able to see it in the packaging, you figured you wouldn't have to bother? Oh, that is just terrible. You know what? I can't stand it. I cannot stand to look at Metal Sonic like this anymore. Hold on just a moment. Behold the Metal Sonic Trio. Now this comparison feels particularly unfair because Metal Sonic was one of the characters that Jazzwares absolutely nailed. It looked awesome. As you may recall, this is my first edition Metal Sonic, which used a slightly lighter blue. Later releases of Metal Sonic would use a darker blue that would look more like this, but I preferred this version. And like the silver and the glossier paints that they use, it just made Metal Sonic really pop and look really cool and unique. Which is cool because he's a robot. He should look shiny and metallic. It's in his name. He's not supposed to have a matte texture. Matte textures are what fur looks like. And, you know, like, you can see, like, the stripe, it's on his foot, but it's not completely on the ground. It's easier to see on the classic metal figure. So, like, it kind of, like, the color's there, but your eye is just like, it's kind of in the wrong place, isn't it? And, well, okay, I know the comparison to the classic Metal Sonic is not going to be as fair because you all know that I repainted him, but keep in mind, Jazzwares did paint the detailing on the classic Metal Sonic's, you know, exhaust for his jet. They painted the yellow part and the white part to, you know, to, even though it would be in the back of the packaging and you wouldn't see it in the store, Jazzwares still went through the effort to paint that part in. Tomy skipped that, and it makes me respect Tomy a lot less. Although, to be fair, Tomy did get that detailing in the back of the knee. Yep, a little bit of detailing that I never would have cared about. They painted that in, but the big glaring area that's literally a bullseye, because, like, that's a bullseye pattern, they didn't paint that. And yes, I remember the original classic metal, he didn't have the black circle painted in the middle of his stomach, so it was just yellow there. And he used this stupid flat gray, just like this. But, you know, like, at least with this, they went to the effort to actually put the detailing in. So it didn't feel like such a huge omission. And, yes, remember, like, this, even as a single, this guy would cost roughly $15, so comparing a $15 figure to an $8 figure is hardly fair, but, you know, like, I know a lot of people really came down hard on Jazzwares for a lot of reasons, many of them valid, but they did not screw Metal Sonic up. Alright, so, you know what, like I said, I thought that maybe putting the good Metal Sonics next to him would make him look a little bit better to my eyes, but I still can't stand this. Something has to be done. Hold on another moment. Alright, so I took all of half an hour to give him a silver paint job on all those stupid dull gray parts, and that looks better. I mean, I still would have liked if they used a more metallic blue on his blue parts, but at least having the silver bits, it really helps. And I also picked out the back. You know, he has the yellow and the silver, as is the construction of his little jetpack goes. I also painted the inside of the curved spine thing silver. You know, a little bit of silver, you know? I mean, silver paint isn't that expensive, as far as I'm aware. I mean, come on, it would have been simple to do. I guess they just wanted to use native plastic colors to cut out a paint budget. Because, you know, like, at retail, this thing is only supposed to be $8, but... it's that particular shade of gray. It just looks particularly bland and lazy when you see it. But there is one thing. Metal Sonic only has swivel cuts in his shoulders. Yeah, there's absolutely no outward movement in those shoulders at all. They are pure swivel cut. Like, wow. I mean, I thought it was a downgrade that these Tomy figures would only have 7 points of articulation, but with Metal Sonic, they downgraded him all the way to 5. Like, he's not much different from a classic Kenner figure. I mean, that kinda sucks. I mean, don't tell me that it's because his shoulder pads are sculpted in place and not on our individual articulation like the Jazzwares Sonic was, because Jazzwares classic Metal Sonic had sculpted in shoulder pads that couldn't move independently of the shoulders, and he still had universal shoulder joints. So, like, they could have sculpted him slightly smaller, or changed or made him a little bit more curved on the inside edge. They just didn't care. I mean, I really don't know how else to say it. I mean, they had the capability to do it, and they didn't. So, I guess they were just banking on the fact that it's Metal Sonic and everyone is going to buy him because he's Metal Sonic and Metal Sonic is awesome. Like, remember how when I was looking at that Toon Link figure from Jakks Pacific's World of Nintendo line, and it made me really lament how they didn't get Sonic? Like, this makes me lament it even more, because I was really hoping that Tomy would at least have a physical improvement in durability over Jazzwares. I guess the only advantage the Tomy figures has is that they're easier to stand and less top-heavy. That's it. I mean, sculpting-wise, paint-wise, articulation-wise, these guys are just a massive downgrade for any Sonic figure that's existed in the past 8 years. It's kind of upsetting. I really wish I could be more enthusiastic, but these guys are, I guess for $8 they'd be okay, but I paid a massive markup to get them ahead of schedule, and I regret that. I really never regretted buying a Sonic toy before, even when I overpaid for them. So, this makes me feel sad. I'm sad inside. So this isn't going to be the last thing that Tomy will make for Sonic. I mean, we still have the 25th anniversary classic figures, which are already late. Thank you very much, Tomy. And they're going to be making toys of the other Badnik figures, including B-Bot and the Boom interpretations of Crab Meat and Motobug, which in the Boom cartoon are called the Crab Bot, the B-Bot, instead of Buzz Bomber and Crab Meat. Although I think Motobug is still called Motobug. Not sure why that's the only one to keep its name. But yeah. Let's hope that the classic line and the new Badniks are a step up in quality, or else I'm really gonna start wishing that Tomy will give up this license and I don't know, give it to Jakks Pacific, because they seem to have a lot more love for video game action figures than Tomy ever could. This has been WakeAngel 2001, somewhat depressingly signing off.